Hey guys, Charles here and welcome to the SEO Gems February update. In this update, I'm going to be telling you about what my plans for the rest of the year for this course. We're going to be going through the Google February update that hit us recently, as well as a load more sites in the wild, as I know you guys loved that element of this course so much, so I'm going to give you way more of them in this update. Okay, so to start things off, if you didn't know already, I will be running update videos for this course every single month of this year. There's going to be a different focus on each video, so we could be going through an update if there's one happening this year. We could be going through more sites in the wild like we have in this episode, or we could be going just through loads of patent data or just about anything. So if you guys also wanted to submit any ideas to me, my DMs on Twitter are always open. Just go to twitter.com/Charles_SEO and you can always DM me as long as you have an account, of course, with Twitter, and we can have a little conversation. If you want anything covered in these specific update videos, just let me know and I'll try and put the data in there for you. So just make sure that you're aware there will be an update towards the end of every single month of this course, as well as if you wanted to do affiliate for this course, let me know. It's you can get 50% of every single commission that you've done. Again, DMs for that available on Twitter. So the Google February update, it's still very early days and it could potentially still be rolling into March. This is why this video is actually so late, because the data I wanted to collect for this video took me so long to put together. I was doing the update, I had loads of other work to do, I had all of these sites that in the wild that I wanted to show you guys. So this update, it's still early days. The actual update itself does seem to be an extension of the December core update. Bear in mind that, we don't know a 110% if this update could affect other things. This is just from our single variable testing. There does not seem to be any specific link types that have been hit. That means essentially there's no niche edits, no PBNs, that kind of stuff that have been hit. One thing that I didn't actually say in my video earlier in the week about this update on my YouTube channel was the link freshness focus of this algorithm update. So basically what it seems to be is that Google is actually adding in some kind of freshness algorithm to your links now, so that it seems to affect the niche edits on quite a problematic scale if you are dealing with lower quality niche edits. Basically, Google is scoring the page as a lower link factor because it's been updated with purely a singular link. This doesn't seem to be affecting pages that have been updated with a substantial amount of content on top of the link. So if you are doing niche edits and you can in any way make the page better, that you're actually buying a niche edit off of the individual site owner, then I would significantly encourage you to try and actually add on as much content and even add in imagery, even add rich media, etc., those kind of things to the page to increase that freshness opportunity, because it seems to be that Google gives you a even more stronger signal if the page has been updated with all that content. Now, it does seem to be that Google is trying to focus on niche edits quite a lot with the updates over the last kind of 12 months or so. So whilst I'm saying there's no specific link type hit, it does seem that link freshness is a really big thing that you need to be considering with this update. Another part of the link freshness thing as well is that when you are having a brand new guest post or a brand new site, or sorry, when you're having a old page that is getting brand new links, there needs to be some kind of retroactive reasoning for that page to be getting links. So essentially, if you're building 10 links over the course of 2 weeks at a page that is 2 or 3 years old, that is a really bad signal in Google's eyes, because the page has suddenly got all of these links, but it's essentially been dead for the last 2 years. And that is a reason why a lot of client work and a lot of agencies don't initially succeed straight away. It's because they're building all of these links at pages that have been dead for so long, and they're messing up their link velocity on a essentially older site, and people just assume that because the site is 10 years old, the domain is 10 years old, that you can just throw that number of links at it, but you still need to be slower in reaction to that. And especially this update seems to be effectively increasing the need to be even more scarce with your link velocity, because it does seem to be a really big factor that Google is going after as well. So in this episode video, I thought I'd take you through the rise of Good Housekeeping, one of the best affiliate websites in the entire world now. It's no longer a magazine publication, it is a fully fledged affiliate website. This site is probably doing somewhere around the mark of 100 million visits per month. As you can see, it's just grown from about 2 to 100 million visits per month in the space of about 4 years, which is an incredible amount of growth considering the actual SEO landscape has been quite bad for a lot of other affiliate sites, especially if you look at things like Gear Hungry and all those huge sites now. They have got absolutely decimated recently. So how exactly did they do it? Don't worry, we're going to be breaking down each of these individually later on after these slides, but I just wanted to give you a bit of an overview of the entire strategy that Hearst have used to absolutely kill it with this site, and obviously get to that 100 million visitors per month mark. So how do they do it? Number one is domain authority. Obviously the domain is huge. It's a huge authority. It's got tons of backlinks. In fact, it's probably got about 1 million referring domains, and the entire site itself has been around for a consistently long amount of time. It's got a quite large physical presence from the old days of the Good Housekeeping magazine, and it's created this PR kind of buzz around the entire site that allows it to have this domain authority. The URL structure is set up in an amazing way, which we'll get onto later. The internal linking is very, very well done. The imagery and the entire UX of the pages is extremely well crafted, to the point that it's probably converting at a ridiculously high percentage, because all people can do is click that damn shop button, and then buying links pretty much like everybody else. I have seen so many sites linking to this site that are just bought links, and funnily enough, they're not even good bought links. The agency who they're using, or the internal staff who are doing the SEO for this site, are literally doing multiple link buys, which is essentially where you buy one guest post with 2 or 3 other companies, which is quite funny. But again, they're so used to doing this kind of stuff because they're using the Hearst PBN, and it works so well. They're using this reverse sync or swim internal linking essentially between other sites, because it's internally within their own network. So they're linking from site to site to site with these exact same pages, which is exactly what we'll get on to now. So let's break down each of these things and why Good Housekeeping has smashed it so much over the last 4 years. Okay, so we have to start with the most obvious thing, which is the root domain authority. It's got the metrics, obviously, all there, DR89, DA90, TF64 and CF68. But the main thing that it is that the mixture of topical authority that these backlinks are producing for Good Housekeeping. Essentially, that before that Hearst even turned Good Housekeeping, the domain and the magazine website, into a more affiliate-focused website than previously the magazine news-style site, it already had all of those news and those backlinks that had accrued from previously in niches like lifestyle, health, garden, home, travel, news, products, everything, as well as the fact that it's also accrued over 800 Wikipedia backlinks from various Wikipedia domains. Those no-follow links, whilst they are, yes, no-follow, they are still going to be passing a huge amount of trust signals to this site. And especially it's going to be passing trust signals to the pages, especially when Google made no-follow a hint directive. It can even potentially pass juice. And it very likely is doing that exactly to this page. So it's a very obvious one, but root domain authority for this site is a big part of why they've been able to do this. And the root domain authority that they had previously to Hearst Media, even running this domain, was a massive influential part of why this is so successful. Another one of the major reasons why Good Housekeeping has been so successful is their URL structure setup. They have a segmented URL hierarchy, which better increases the chances of Google creating these topical authority bubbles, which is something that we exactly talked about in the last update video, where I showed you the patterns where Google talks about topical clustering. And this is the exact kind of thing that I'm talking about. They have 3 levels of pages of topical authority. If you look at these 2 examples here, they have appliances, vacuum cleaner reviews, and best vacuums as 3 individual page level pages, which allows Google to much easier create this sense of topical authority. Exact same for the next one, appliances, ice cream maker reviews, and best ice cream makers. 3 levels of pages, obviously targeting different kind of industries and niches, but that allows Google to again create this sense of topical authority much easier. Now, if you want to go ahead and implement this into your strategy, you can obviously remove the little code elements that they have put into this. I think that's just either to do with with their CMS setup or to do something to do with their writing system. I don't recommend putting in the additional G2, 5, G2, whatever, but Google also knows that these can be additional query-based URLs and can actually even segment them from the rest of the URL, and it knows that they're not actually necessary. So yeah, I really highly recommend checking out exactly how they've gone ahead and set up all of their URLs, because they also segment the topical nature of the site quite well as well, and make it make all of their content side of the actual site with all the old news, etc., on a different kind of URL setup, so that Google can again topically segment all of the old news content towards the more affiliate content side, which is on the new URLs. Next up is their internal linking. Now, Good Housekeeping are actually super aggressive with the amount of internal links they use in all of their money pages, especially money pages that have more backlinks towards themselves. They tend to use even more internal links on pages that have a lot of links themselves, just again to move a lot of that authority around. Another part is that unlike most of the big sites, media corporations, news sites, etc., all of those sites tend to use automated internal linking for their content, because it tends to be different people posting the articles to different people actually writing it and doing all the SEO, etc. But instead, actually, Good Housekeeping and a lot of the other Hearst websites use custom manual internal linking for all of their different sites. And it's really interesting to go ahead and see all of the different available keywords that they have, absolutely killing the amount of pages that are in this example piece here, which is the best air fryers money page. There's 8 keyword-based internal links plus another branded internal link just within the first 200 words of the articles. Now, another thing that they do as well, which is something that a lot of people like to do, is mixing in those authority links within the contextual parts of the actual article. Now, I don't necessarily say that affiliate links to Amazon are authority links, quote unquote, but a lot of people actually do say that even though you're putting a affiliate link to Amazon, because it's going to the root domain, it still counts as a quote unquote authority link. So essentially what Good Housekeeping do is they mix the amount of internal links and external authority quote unquote affiliate links into their article. So some of the article links are going to be to affiliate Amazon links. Most of the time it's Amazon that they're dealing with. They don't really do any other kind of affiliate deals. I guess they might have some kind of exclusive deal with Amazon as well at Hearst themselves, because most of their websites are using Amazon affiliate. And then most of the other links are just internal links. So normally they will only put one internal link per paragraph, apart from the very top of the fold where they just put a ton of links crammed into there, which actually is another part of SEO where people have said for a long time that if you put links above the fold, they have necessarily a better impact on SEO. I don't always believe that to be the case, but some people do, and it's up to your interpretation. One of the smaller factors about why the Good Housekeeping Institute, quote unquote, is so powerful and so successful is their imagery and UX. They're extremely simplistic when it comes to all of their design. It's a really ease of affiliate click procedure to be able to basically build this content out, and they generally also optimize the article style to different industries. They'll also actually change the imagery as well, and even put in these on sale and 15% off, etc. discounts that I'm not even sure you're normally able to put on the from the Amazon Associates program, because normally you're not allowed to put sales, etc. on there. But I guess again they might have some kind of exclusive deal with Amazon. But essentially the imagery and UX that they're using on this site makes it so clean, makes it so simplistic that people generally just click straight through to the affiliate link, which generally helps all of those SEO signals that some people debate about bounce rates and all the accessible things that Google can see when people don't bounce back to the SERP. They straight go through to other links on the page or Amazon. But in my opinion, it's just a small part of, again, the overall strategy of why GHK have absolutely smashed it. So another part of their overall strategy seems to be straight up buying links. And to be honest, if it's Hearst Media's internal SEO team or Hearst's agency, whoever it is doing it, at a point when you're dealing with so many huge websites and so many different websites and so many campaigns of posts day in, day out, probably talking hundreds of new pieces of content day in, day out, it almost gets to a point where you have to buy links. You can't really scale to a point where you're doing all of this organic outreach and all of these things for these massive websites and getting any sort of results when you're dealing with so many hundreds of new pieces of content every single day. And the funny thing is that they're actually doing multi-link buys, which is what I said earlier, where they have a single guest posts and normally have 1, 2, or even 3 links to different websites within that singular guest post. It makes the overall link buying thing a lot easier and a lot cheaper, but it's also making things a hell of a lot more risky. So essentially what I'm trying to say with all of these pages, if you look at every single money page that GHK has, and even all of the other sites within the Haas Media sites, you'll tend to see a resemblance of crappy link buys across several pages. So and this is almost a reverse parasite SEO, because you own the actual large high authority site, but you're buying these crappy, low quality, low tier links at them, and it's working because you have that high authority site. So the agency or the in-house SEO team is absolutely smashing it because they're buying so many of these backlinks and they're getting away with it because they have such high authority. But one day they might end up getting slapped due to Google turning around and looking at these actual link buys as what the dog shit they really are, to be quite honest. So let's look at example number 1 of these link buys. And the link here, which we are looking at, is mattress. This is the exact internal link, or anchor text, sorry, but going back to the Good Housekeeping mattress page. And we also have a link to Dish Network Packages, Yuma, Arizona, which is a fantastic link you want to be buying on a tips for creating the perfect guest bedroom. Again, the SEO team behind these links is absolutely incredibly amazing outreach experts. Example number 2 is have a high quality night span. Pick a bedroom theme. And we also have 2 other links which are actually at least similar this time to 2 separate clients. Again, some of these sites are quite big, so it looks like it's an agency rather than Haas internal media team that are doing this, but they seem to be quite good at doing all these things. And then again, example number 3, great mattress, another one that's very similar to the first example. And yes, you may have guessed by now, all 3 of these examples were linking back to the mattress money page for Good Housekeeping, which is kind of a telltale sign when you have all of these different links, and again, they tend to look all at the exact same time, etc. So how do I know that they're paid? Well, number 1, all these links were for 1 page and were just 1 page's example. You can again do this for every single page on GHK, every single page on a lot of the other websites. All the links were created between the 7th of last year and the 10th of month, so between July and September of last year, and it's following a similar pattern. Again, it seems to be that when a page goes live, within that first 3 months or so, it gets a ton of links, or potentially whenever the Haas Media team put a page to their agency or to their internal links team, that agency or internal links team is just really, really lazy and does a 3-month campaign every single goddamn time because it works. And if you can process it and systemize it, then why the hell not? And I've also seen about 150 domains linking to GHK that I know sell links. So I know that they wouldn't probably be putting the site on there unless they were selling a link to them. And finally, you have the Haas PBN itself, probably the heart of the entire SEO strategy. Essentially, what they do is they take a number of their domains that they have, and they either find pages that already have content. Yes, they actually add niche edits onto their own websites for Good Housekeeping. But the normal strategy, because that's an example with the bustle link there, but the normal strategy is what they actually do is they try to add a branded link onto a page that is the exact same page as they already have. And yes, they have even done this with the Oprah magazine, which is another domain that somehow they've got their greedy little hands on. And basically what they do is they'll create, again, another best portable air conditioners page on the Oprah magazine website, as if portable air conditioners have anything to do with Oprah's magazine, and then they'll link that page back once it's already indexed and ranking back to the Good Housekeeping article. Almost never does GHK link down to its other poorer sites like Popular Mechanics, Oprah Magazine, and so on. They have about 25 of these domains that are doing this, so if they can actually go ahead and all they have to do is invest in a new article of 1,000 words, 1,500 words, and reformat the list, which is what they seem to be doing here, then it seems to be working fantastically because they can add another page. It's probably going to jump within the top 100 just due to the root authority alone, and then they can add the link. It's going to be a RSOS, reverse sink or swim method link, where it's the exact same page reversing and linking back to the exact same page within the SERPs. And those are generally the most powerful links you can have because it's links from your own damn competitors. Okay, so next up we have the most requested segment for a course I think I've ever had. Since the last update video, I've had so many of you ask me to put in a ton more sites because you loved the first edition of this, so I'll try to make it a part of the monthly thing. Maybe I'll skip a couple months just to spice things up, but I will try and make sure that I include a Sites in the Wild edition to almost every edition of SEO Gems Update for this year. The first example I wanted to talk about in my Sites with the Wild edition for the February update was thehealthy.com, which is actually a Reader's Digest backed website, which is part of their entire ledger of websites. I say ledger, which is ironic because they actually own the ledger.com as well as the gazette.com, as well as the healthy, etc., etc. And again, it's a RSIS media style dominance where you just use other sites with the exact same page to internally link back within your own network, which is another reason why it's been so successful. But this site specifically has been an absolute crazy ride recently, of going up to almost 2 million visits a month or so, back down to half of that or a third of that even, and it's been clawing its way back ever since. And the reason of why it's been such a successful website recently is, again, it's another media dominance example. This time it's Reader's Digest network instead of the Hearst network, but it's actually got a really good heavy rich media use, with almost every article containing a video, every article containing images that load quite fast because they're all CDN'd through Getty, I believe, and then it has really well optimized internal linking, and it uses medical web page schema, which I still don't see from so many health websites. It's insane. Why don't you utilize the exact way you prove to Google your authoritativeness within the SERP for these YMYL SERPs? If you're in the health SERPs, then basically all you need to do is have a author, which can be anyone writing the post, and then it needs to be reviewed by a professional medical expert, and you put the reviewer within there with all their credentials, etc. And they of course have to have other things within the net, which is what Google says. Not so sure how Google actually link the name to like LinkedIn profiles, maybe Twitter profiles, maybe all of that good stuff, but I'm not so sure that Google can actually prove it's getting reviewed by a medical professional, which is exactly why this can be abused even if you don't have access to one. Wink wink. Onto a perfect example of not needing any sort of domain authority to be able to rank. Now, yes, this site does have a pretty good amount of recent PR, etc., but it generally overall has a ton of crappy coupon and non-contextual in general backlinks, and it has still managed to grow to probably an estimate of a lot higher than a Ahrefs estimate of 1,000 visits a month, probably more so to 2,000, 3,000 visits a month. And considering the site itself is a mixture of informational and e-commerce, it's a fantastic setup for every single one of the pages that it has to actually transition into the sale point, which is trying to sell a early morning wake up energy drink, which is essentially beyond my comprehension for actually knowing if you should be drinking energy drinks in the morning. However, it's got heavy long form Q&A based content, which is awesome. Basically what that means is it targets a keyword, and then within that specific keyword it answers a bunch of other questions within the headers itself. It then of course uses heavy topical content, which essentially means that it's internally linking and has all of these blog posts that are set up all around energy drinks, all around waking up early in the morning, all around sleep, etc., which really impacts the credibility of the website, considering there's actually not much competition for the energy drink niche online, and especially the waking up in the morning kind of niche, besides the coffee kind of websites, which obviously this has nothing to do with coffee, so fantastic for them. It has non-optimized internal linking, which is something that it could maybe improve, where it's actually doing links with those optimized anchors, but at the moment it's not. It's normally just using kind of more generic anchors, and even some of the time just using click here, etc. It's also not utilizing schema, which is something that I definitely think that they should add as well. And then it's just got a super fast load time. Most of these pages are loading in under a second. It's giving you this huge long form content in under a second, which is a fantastic load time to have. Overall, it's just a very well done site and a perfect example of not needing authority for these smaller niches where you can dominate because of low competition, and just having a really fantastic, well optimized, well built, heavy topical content, fast load time website. Now, TechUp Life is one of my favourite sites because it was essentially created just before 2020, and then it flew up this SERPs despite all odds of it being a pretty overall crappy, normal, run-of-the-mill affiliate WordPress website. However, what they did differently really actually set them apart from a lot of the other competition. Whilst you see the Gear Hungry and these huge generic sites have gone completely bust almost, this site is still actually winning and probably over the next couple of months is going to reclaw some of the traffic it lost from the December core update due to some of the strategies that it utilizes that those other sites do not. So first of all, of course, it's using long form content. Nearly every single one of the articles has a minimum of 2,500 words. It's normally about 3,000, going up to 4. It has a small, heavy topical focus. It only has 4 or 5 generic niches. I think those being like gaming, home entertainment, sound systems and things like that. But basically, because it niches down to just these 4 or 5, that are kind of almost interconnected, you can actually use different niche pages to interlink. Whereas the problem that Gear Hungry has in those kind of sites is if you start interlinking your best ride-along lawnmower pages to your home entertainment system pages, they really have absolutely no topical nature whatsoever, and considering they're all under that same URL hierarchy, it's kind of hard to actually become a topical authority because you're so broad and going and becoming that huge broad nature. And that's what the problem that Gear Hungry has versus this site, which is a perfect example of going small and heavy focus on just those few topics. Again, it has an ultra fast load time. Every single page loads absolutely rapidly, and again, it has a factor that some put up for debate, but I think this is actually a really big reason of why this site ranks, is it uses a heavy amount of external authority links. So to kind of balance out the number of affiliate links that it has within the site, because obviously each page has 20 to 30, maybe even 40 and 50 affiliate links to Amazon mostly on that website, it uses other links, Gear Best, Gear Hungry, etc., to kind of mix up how many external links are on the page, and it uses them quite heavily. So obviously most users aren't going to click on those links because they're going to be clicking buttons. However, I think that heavy amount of external authority link use really helps the page become more of an authority itself. Another gear site that has survived where the other sites have faltered and dropped off recently is Gear Moose. And probably if you have been an affiliate and looked in the more generic affiliate SERPs, you've seen these guys for quite a few number of years, but they seem to have just grown and gotten better every single year. So why have they been able to do this? Well, it's actually because they have a limited topical focus once again. They only tend to focus on male interests, tech, riding, gadgets, all that kind of stuff, lifestyle, clothing, but it all tends to be within the same niche and same topics, and they will cover those topics to an extent that most others do not. They will not cover a new topic which isn't within one of their categories, and then just cover that for a single post. They will make sure that every single one of their categories and subcategories has tens, hundreds, or thousands of articles to make them a real topical authority within that niche. They have an ultra clean UX that's targeted at men. It's very minimal, heavy image use, big images, bold, very easy to navigate around the site, and it's very easy again to go and click through to all the affiliate links. And again, they don't use Amazon for a lot of their affiliate links, which is something that I really like about Gear Moose. They've diversified away from Amazon, which is something that a lot of the other gear websites and a lot of the other affiliates haven't done, and it's something that I've been shouting off the rooftop for years. I have not been an Amazon affiliate for over 2 years now, and I'm so goddamn thankful every single year that I'm not getting my ass pounded by the Jeff Bezos of the world from those Amazon affiliate commissions just getting taken away from you every so often. As well as the fact that they're just trigger happy with bans. They have limited, heavily optimized internal linking. They use keywords for almost all of the internal linkings that they do. But again, unlike good housekeeping, they're very limited with it. Normally, it's only one internal link per 100 to 200 words. You won't really see an internal link within the same fold. So it's very limited with their internal links, but they're heavily optimized, and also they're heavily niche focused. So a lot of the internal linking makes sense, right? It's manually done. It's not automated BS. They have an extremely fast load time. It loads very, very fast. The pages are small, condensed really very, very well, and the devs behind it are implementing CDNs as well. They use articles, and it's a WordPress site as well. So again, if you want to go and have a look at a site that is a large-scale WordPress example, that is a perfect one. They use article schema on every single one of their posts, so that you can go in, so that Google understands exactly what that article is about. And they straight up do link buys. They have been buying a ton of backlinks, especially over the last 12 to 18 months. They've been going pretty ham with the amount of backlinks that they've been buying. And something that kind of stands out, which is a bit different, is that they're one of the only sites that I've ever seen using the highlight function of text, which is basically where they highlight text instead of bolding it or making it a header or something. They in fact do bold and highlight in most of the things, but I think that's a really cool way to diversify your site, is to use that highlighting function to make the text stand out and make it even more bolder for the user. It's just something cool that I thought I'd chuck in there, because I haven't really seen that used in many other affiliate websites, and I think it's something that, again, really makes it stand out. And if you do have a site that uses yellow within that thing, or it doesn't, or a yellow is a contrasting color that complements the rest of the website, then that is a fantastic tool to use. Bear in mind that you can use other colors to highlight, but obviously yellow is the most commonly associated with that highlighted text. On to a bit of a different example now, which is one that's a bit of an old company, actually, from all the way back, registered in 2005. The domain is nearly 16 years old. GetUnwired.com is a brilliant example of how you do take an age domain with some decent authority, make sure that you have all the trust signals there, and turn it into a real powerhouse by creating some really impactful short form list based content, aka the backlink away. So first of all, straight away, it's a very aged domain. It's nearly 16 years old, as I said. They create essentially this the short form list based content, which is things like the top 8 free streaming websites, the top 8 free blah, 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 etc., all of this kind of good short form list-based content. And essentially, this content just ranks almost automatically because the site is so old, so aged, and so topically powerful, as well as the fact that it's had some really recently strong backlinks. As you can tell, these links here are actually the same article, but they've been redistributed over 2 different domains. However, it's a really, really powerful backlink, and they have strong trust signal citation. So they're listed in the Better Business Bureau, they're on MapQuest, they're on Foursquare, they're listed in almost every single citation, and have been so for many, many years, which gives it such a strong trust signal of a domain that I think if they keep on uploading this content, where they keep on adding these new pages, they're going to continue to just absolutely dominate for this kind of stuff, and they're going to keep on creating an even stronger domain to rank for some of their more money-focused keywords around their rural broadband and rural internet kind of target keywords. Ape to Gentleman is a bit of a similar site to Gear Moose in the sense that it is targeting the men's fashion and lifestyle kind of industries. However, they've had a much quicker rise, even though they've kind of been around in a similar time. Over the last couple of years, they've been on a meteoric rise, even though they haven't got quite as much traffic as Gear Moose has. Though they also have an even more limited topical focus, so they only concentrate on men's lifestyle and fashion. They don't go into all the additional stuff that Gear Moose does, where it's more around tech and gadgets and sports and travel and all that kind of things as well. This is normally just focused around men's lifestyle and fashion. A ton of men's fashion, including watches, clothing, etc. It's really quite an interesting site to go look on if you are a man. It's also got article schema, manual internal linking, which is just really, really well done. If you go and have a look at some of their biggest pieces, such as their best investment watch piece, you'll see that they even link the keyword rose gold to their men's rose gold watches selection. They've done their internal linking phenomenally well, and they're quite heavily, aggressively using it. So they're using around one internal link per every 50 to 100 words, which is actually considerably less than some of the other sites are doing. And they have a massive link campaign. I'm talking huge. They've bought a ton of link links over the last couple of years. They've gone massive with this. I'm pretty sure they're even 3 times as big in terms of their link profile as Gear Moose is, though they are not as efficient with it, and some of their backlinks are pretty questionable. However, they have been phenomenal with their Wikipedia backlinks, their WikiHow backlinks, as well as just other men's fashion and men's lifestyle blogs that have really powerful pages linking to them naturally. So I think they actually could have got away with not even doing a link campaign, considering their content is so well done. They just needed to focus on getting those natural links through link bait and things, which is kind of their downfall. They don't have enough link bait. It's all just money pages for the most part. There's not a ton of other content to try and be generating those additional links. And the final English site that we're going to be taking a look at in this Sites in the Wild series is nebula.org. And this site is living proof that even if you are in a YMYL, in especially medical niche, you can still have crazy results with using these specific methodologies. So how exactly have Nebula succeeded so well here and had such crazy results, gaining massively month on month very recently? So number one, they're using long form, heavy amounts of content. They're doing reports, tutorials, news, questions, every kind of thing that you can imagine to become a topical authority. And even though they are a company themselves, that it's an e-commerce website, they're trying to sell a product, they still do industry product reviews. And in fact, a lot of their biggest pages are actually other competing product reviews on their website. And some of them, if you can even imagine this, actually have affiliate links, which is just crazy. But essentially what they're doing is that most of the time using this to either generate traffic, which then leads into them from their competing products, which then leads into them buying off of this website from them instead, or they're using it to generate traffic that they can later retarget to either make that sale or make them generate an email so that they can put them into an email chain, which could potentially generate a sale. So it's a crazy amount of content that they're using to essentially do this. They have heavy schema and markup use. Every single page has a table of contents that is marked up. They have schema across the board, and then they've just been gaining huge amounts of backlinks through link bait because they've been putting out so many pieces of content and then been putting out so many different pieces of content. A lot of it has become link bait, and it's just been gaining them links en masse. I haven't seen any kind of links that look dodgy and look bought. It just seems to be all naturally acquired because they've been putting out so much high quality content. It is crazy. So I thought I'd spice things up and add in some foreign site examples into the Sites in a Wild series. If you want me to add in any specific countries, then just go ahead and DM me those on Twitter and I'll put it into the next few episodes for you and find some sites in those countries, even if I don't speak your languages. So the number one site is a Norwegian financial site, which is absolutely smashing. You see it has a $73,000 traffic value, which is 3,500 traffic on a pretty much a brand new domain, and it pretty much straight away started ranking. So how does it start ranking? Well, number one, it uses English homepage image links. Yes, seriously, it's like 2005 all over again. You're getting these homepage, and some of them are even site-wide as well, links with huge amounts of traffic, huge amounts of visitors, etc. And they're using image links that are using alt text-based keywords to link back to the website, which is giving it some amount of power. I'm not so sure on what the alt text can actually transition so much power to it. However, it is giving it some amount of power. It's also using English quality PBN links. You know, you're talking DR 20 to 30 to 40 kind of PBNs. These are aged, actually decent. There's not a ton of other sites on there. You know, you're talking OBLs 5 or 6 rather than doing the 20 kind of blackout world style PBNs. This site has under 50 pages. It's not using a ton of topical authority to rank. It also has hidden .no PBN links, and it's using a very clever pillow link system just to diversify itself even more. The pillow links it's actually using, obviously you've got some big ones like Folked, Squared, etc. You've got these kind of big sites, but they're also quite cleverly using actually .no, .se, all of these kinds of geo TLD relevant sites, and they're building pillow links off them. So they're using forums, citations, those kind of things to build these geo relevant sites to this site. So for example, number two for you is a razor site in Germany. Now, it hasn't been doing phenomenally well, but it also hasn't got a ton of backlinks. So how is it ranking? I thought this is a perfect example, considering the last one was all about the backlinks. This one is more so about the content, even though it does have some backlinks to it. Mostly it's because it's got long form content. It has about 300 pages of content on there, and the URL structure is set up really, really well. Now, I think this site would be succeeding even more if you started throwing in some internal linking schema, etc., that kind of thing, because the schema on the page is currently broken. If you improve the site even more, it could be doing even more phenomenally well, but it's just proof that you don't actually need backlinks. You know, the entire site's got about 50 referring domains, but it's ranking most of the long-form content, the URL structure, and some German PBNs and other affiliate builds. That's a quite interesting thing as well. What this guy's gone and done is he's built other German razor sites, and he's linking back from those homepages to this site. So even if one build doesn't necessarily do well, it's still giving you that juice, and it's still giving you those links for another site to power up that other site for you. So I thought I'd also throw in some additional foreign bonus tips to make sure that any of you guys out there that are doing foreign SEO have some additional stuff to use. So number one, you want to be utilizing the home page to rank. Unlike in most of the English SERPs where you're using your homepage as a branded entity and you're trying to create that whole brand around your homepage, you actually want to be using your homepage to try and rank for legitimate keywords within the foreign SERPs, because the domain and the root page is so powerful from all the backlinks the homepage is getting that it becomes almost stupid to not utilize that to start ranking for specific target keywords. As well as the fact that if you're actually using your page as a money page, essentially, you can build even more links at that homepage than you normally would do, and you can use that homepage to throw even more link juice down the tiers to other pages on their site, both via internal links from the homepage itself, as well as just the fact that you get that link juice from the root authority going to those other pages. Backlink quality over quantity. This is something that's pretty interesting. Previously, I'd just order 100 niche edits over the course of 2 months and watch it fly. Nowadays, you're wanting to be careful with how many links you're using. The link velocity algorithms have caught up with foreign, and you're just wanting to be making sure that you're going with really high quality over quantity. If you can go ahead and buy 5 really good English PBN links versus 50 cheap tier 2-star ones, then 110% go with those 5, just because they're going to be so much more impactful in the foreign SERPs than those other cheaper links. And also those cheap links, you actually risk yourself every time there's an update. Google tend to hit those sites that are using those cheaper links. And another tip is that you can use translated content below the fold. Now, of course, if you're wanting users to actually read the content, then anything above the fold, the first 300, 500 words, you want an actual writer to write it in that language so that the person who is reading it isn't going to immediately click off because it's absolute gibberish. However, Google's algorithms are not so advanced that they can actually understand most of this content. So what you can do is literally just have the writer do the first 300 to 500 words, and then everything else beneath it, aside from maybe the headers, can just be translated content that's literally almost gibberish, because the only thing that matters is that Google's bot is going to enjoy that content, and it can't really read it anyway, so it doesn't really matter all that much. And I just wanted to say thank you for watching. This has been the February update. Don't forget that the March update will be coming out in several weeks' time, so make sure to keep an eye on your emails for that. And if you have any other suggestions for these update videos, make sure to DM me them on Twitter. I've been Charles Flo. I really hope you enjoyed this course. Don't forget to give me 5 stars on Gumroad, and if you wanted to be an affiliate for it, my DMs are always open. Peace.